Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Wanderlust Homebody channel. I am Tina Smith, and I am so excited because today we are going to cover 8 reasons why house sitting without getting paid, to me, is much better than getting paid for a house sit. So, I just want to let you know this is my third live, and I'm excited still to be going live with you guys. And this channel is all about my house sitting experiences that I'm sharing with you so that you can utilize house sitting as a way to travel the world and build wealth or save money. I am a former burned out nurse who left corporate America and began house sitting almost 3 years ago. And in my first 2 years, I saved over $30,000 while I was traveling all over the world as a house sitter by not having to pay for housing or lodging costs. Let's get to it. A lot of people, I wanted to do this video because a lot of people who I meet and I explain when I'm just out and about what house sitting is and the exchange, which is that, and I never like to use the word free. So I go stay in people's homes and take care of their homes or their homes and their pets while they are away in exchange for lodging. So it's not free because I am providing a service. There's just not money being exchanged. I do get gifts, beautiful gift baskets, get taken out to dinner. People leave gift cards that cover my groceries or they buy, a lot of my groceries. I get gift cards to go visit places all around the city. If I mentioned that I wanted to do a particular thing, some people have bought me, you know, um, gift certificates to go to certain places. So you do receive whatever the owner has on there, or they're called hosts. You do receive whatever the host has on their hearts to share with you, but I don't get paid in money. So some people are really disappointed when I tell them that. They're like, oh, I wouldn't do it without getting paid. But I mentioned this in several of my videos, considering that the average cost for one night of a hotel in the United States is $150. That's average. Could be a little less, likely a little more by the time you factor in taxes and such. That's a steal. That's like getting paid $150 a day already. And all of my points, which I'm becoming infamous now for my note card because I will get off track very easily. All of my points are geared towards the ease of the difference between going to work or going to do something as a job that you get paid for with much higher expectations, right? Versus a house sit, which feels more like an exchange. Without further ado, number one, authentic connections. So, the connections that come about whenever we are getting paid for money versus not, I'm sorry, getting paid money for a service versus not getting paid is very different. The vibe is going to be very different. So on a house sit, the connection is more authentic because there's no money being exchanged. So you get a chance to actually get to know the hosts. As I said, they want to get to know you better. It's not, you can actually build a relationship much easier because it's coming from a place of authenticity. There's nothing between you guys that says, oh, I don't want to become too friendly because I'm the employer. And so I don't want to befriend this person because I want to maintain the control as the employer so that I can make sure, I'm stern and that they get everything done that they're supposed to. That part is removed when you go through my favorite platform, which I didn't mention, is called Trusted Housesitters. So that's the platform that I use exclusively, have used exclusively since I started doing house sitting back in 2023 in November. And I thoroughly recommend it. I have met so many amazing hosts. You'll meet some of them on this channel. And it's just a beautiful relationship that you can build with someone when there's no employer employee type of dynamic going on. All right. Number 2, low stress. Again, if you are anybody who has ever worked or has ever even done a gig in exchange for money, you realize that the pressure to get things done perfectly and make sure that you covered everything in your job description can become heavy and stressful, especially when you have a lot of tasks to do or when you're unfamiliar with them. And going back to number 1 with the connections that are being formed, some people are very different and can be very harsh when there is an employer employee dynamic. So that you might not feel comfortable calling them and asking them, hey, I need a little more feedback on this situation or that situation. And so when it's an exchange where there's no money, like on Trusted House Sitters, you feel more free to call and ask a question if you don't quite understand something that's going on with the house sit, because you want to get it right and there's no pressure to say, hey, I don't know how to do this. You didn't make an agreement that said, I already know how to do this from the beginning. So it's really a lot less, something flying. It's really a lot less stressful whenever there's no money exchange. So I do love that freedom of being able to make a mistake or not know something and still, not hurt my relationship with the host. Number 3, I own my own time. When you get paid for a house sit, everything that is included in your daily tasks needs to be done before you get to your own leisurely exploratory activities. Now, most of the time when I go to a house sit, in fact, I would say all of the time, except for when I was first starting out, it's because I want to explore something in that particular area. I want to go to, a museum or an event in that area, or I've never been to that area and I just want to explore it. All of my time, of course, and let me say and let me make very clear, there are tasks involved with each house sit. Um, but you agree to what you're comfortable with and you can plan accordingly so that if if it's a house sit where you want to be out and about, you want to do a lot of exploring, you wouldn't choose a house sit that has a lot of tasks to do. I wouldn't choose a house sit that has a lot of tasks, period, whether I want to explore or whether I want to relax. For instance, the name of this channel is Wanderlust Homebody. So I rate each of one of my sits by whether I would at the end I say, was I wanderlust or was I a homebody? And it just depends on my mood. Some sits I go on and I might rarely leave, might rarely go outside to explore anything because I'm just in a space where I need to rest. And in some sits, I'm out and about exploring, going to different venues, maybe going to an event in the area that I heard about. I might have booked the house sit specifically to go to an event, which I've done sometimes. So um, it just depends. But if you are getting paid, everything that you've obligated yourself to has to be done first. That can start to feel, stressful, like a lot of pressure. And you might run out of time to do what you actually wanted to do. So I don't have that problem because nobody is expecting me to do a job that I'm getting paid for. And if it's not done to, you know, an extreme degree or perfectly, it's not a big deal. All right. Number 4 is minimum expectations. Kind of goes with the previous one. If I get paid to do something, like I'm on a job, I'm expected to do that thing 100%, right? But if I'm on a house sit and someone's like, okay, these are your duties. You need to, the most common that's coming to mind is that you take out the trash to the curb the night before or the morning of every, let's say, Wednesday. So that people expect you to keep the area tidy. And people usually, or I'm not even going to say usually, but sometimes expect for you to retrieve the mail and bring it in or retrieve a package delivery. So as long as you do those things, anything else is like a cherry on top. And it works out much better because there's less pressure so that nobody is expecting you to also do, let's see, to also sort the laundry or something that they didn't ask you to do. So that ends up being a cherry on top, and you get bonus points for doing extra things. It's just it works out better. There's just a flow that you get to set, and people don't have so many demands, and they're not calling you asking you, "Hey, can you do this extra thing?" Since they're already paying you. It really is helpful. And number 5 is that there are this is perhaps the most huge one to me. There are no taxes. So I looked up an example of a paid house sit, which I've never done, so I had to look it up. And I wanted to share it. I'm not familiar with how I can share my screen, so I'm just going to read it from my phone. So I found this. I looked up initially some sites that offer paid house sits, and two came up. One is called House Sitters of America, which that's the one I pulled up one of their profiles, and we're gonna go over it. The other is called Luxury House Sitting. I was like, oh, okay, luxury house sitting. So I did try to go on luxury house sitting site to see what they offered, but you have to register and sign up for an account in order to do that. And I just was like, oh, I'll just try the other one instead of going through all of that. So I did end up on House Sitters of America site. So the first sit that I found was not a paid sit, it was just for an overnight stay. So I went to the second sit, and I don't know if you guys will be able to see this. There we go. So it's a sit in Texas, and it's for, it actually starts tomorrow. And so I was looking through, I wanted to see like what the pay rate was like and what type of responsibilities you would have in this sit. So I'm just going to share them with you guys. Okay, so it describes their home. It says that the sitter will have their own room and bathroom. You'll have access to the living room. The living room has a TV with streaming services. You'll get Wi Fi and you'll have access to the entire kitchen and laundry room. All right, and then they talk about what they love about their area. They say it's a beautiful area, far enough away, but still close enough to everything that you might need. They talk about breathtaking sunsets and sunrises, which are perfect in the mornings for people who like to enjoy a nice cup of coffee. Now, here is where we get to the nitty gritty, and I saved the price for last. All right, so as you guys can see, they have 4 dogs. They have over 10, a combination of chicken, ducks, and geese. And they have 2 farm animals, which I would have thought would have been in the last category, but the picture indicates horses and pigs. I don't know if that's just the stock photo or if they actually have horse. Let me click on it. Oh, it's not clickable, so I don't know what they have, but 2 farm animals. All right, so here are the duties. They want you to ensure fresh water for all outside animals throughout the day. not just one time or two times, morning and night, throughout the day. They want you to scrub out the waterers as necessary. They say our chickens and guineas are free range, so we make sure they all go up at the end of the day and are let out at sunrise, or it says around sunrise. So you have to be an early riser to let these animals out around sunrise. The goats get grain at sunrise, and again before sunset. The ducks also get fed twice a day. Ducks and chicken eggs have to be collected every day. Outside dog gets pets and fed morning and evening only if bowl is empty or close to. Inside dogs have separate bowls and get fed every evening. All right, so that's the duties. And I will put it up here. Let's see. Yep. All right. So I read you guys all of the duties. And there's no garden or plant care, thank God. They just say that they love their animals and enjoy learning from them. Um, you can have guests by arrangement. You have to have your own transportation, so they don't provide a car like some houses do, which is fine. You can't bring your own pets and you can smoke outside. Okay, you guys, this, I've never seen a house sit like this. Like, I've never seen a house sit on Trusted House Sitters like this. And it makes sense because it's quite extensive. So, a person who had a house sit, like, and I'm not saying that there aren't, I've just never seen one, this with this much to do. And I actually was looking into one that actually I looked into two that were on a farm. I didn't apply for either one of them, but I have seen two that were on a farm, but it was not this extensive, the duties. So again, it makes sense that this would be on a platform that pays you. But clearly, I wouldn't. A person who absolutely loves animals and is accustomed to this type of work, this will be great for that person. So I'm not knocking it, but I am a solo sitter. I would never try to take this much work on unless it was, I think this will take 3 or 4 people, unless you're accustomed to this type of lifestyle. But for one person, I would never consider this, even if it was something that I wanted to explore. But all the things some of the things that I mentioned before, I'm looking at my list. Low stress, I own my own time, minimum expectations. That is certainly not fitting here. To me, this is a lot of work. And now I want to get down to I want to down to the point of that goes with my no taxes. The pay for this, I'm going to give you guys a moment to guess how much they're willing to pay you to do all of this work. And I'm sure they're considering throwing in, or the fact that you will get overnight accommodations in addition to this price. So guess how much? I'm getting ready to show you guys. The pay is this. Let me use my other hand so you can see. Can you guys? Yeah, there you go. Payment $50 PD, which stands for per day. All right, to me, I would never I would never do all of that because it's not something that I'm accustomed to for $50 per day, even considering the accommodations that you get to stay there. Now, let's say you did accept this gig and you got paid. So it was from the, I'm sorry, I forgot the dates. I know it starts on, I think it was the 16th to the 20th. Yep, the 16th to the 20th, 16, 17, 18, 19. So that's 4 nights. So perhaps you will get paid 5 days, for 5 days, $250. You are going to have to pay taxes on that $250 because you're getting paid. I mean, I can only imagine that this is set up like a self employment thing Um, I could be wrong. I did not look into that, which I should have before I started talking about this, but I do know many paid house sitting gigs and paid pet sitting gigs. You're an employer. I'm sorry, an employee. So you have to pay taxes. Imagine doing all of that work and you get paid your $250, depending on what tax bracket you fall into. It's not going to be worth it by the time you pay taxes on that $250 when you consider what you could have saved to not do as much work if you didn't want to do that much work. Even factoring in getting the overnight accommodations. Because let's say that could be, I'm not even going to mess with the number two, low stress, because for those of you who would consider that low stress, I would not consider that low stress at all. So that's not me. But so number one for me would be that would be very stressful to make sure I'm up by sunrise, let these animals out, make sure they're outside for, roaming. So make sure they don't get away. Keep an eye on their water all throughout the day. Make sure they get back in at night, and then you still have the some dogs indoors, some dogs outdoors situation. Yeah. Okay. So for me, that would be an all day situation. That would be an all day job for $50. So I would not have time to. Number three, I own my own time. I would not own my own time. I would be exhausted by the time, I probably got a spare few minutes throughout the day. I would probably use them to rest a little bit. And then minimum expectations. If I accept this house sit and agree to make sure all of these things get done, and let's say one of the animals gets away. I could just imagine that happening. Like I can picture in my head some fence like breaking down and all of the animals rushing out, total chaos. So if something like that were to happen, and I took this job, I'm getting paid. And again, I want to reiterate, I'm not saying that the same thing couldn't happen on a trusted house sitter sit where there was no money being exchanged. But the pressure of being paid. So it's like harder to explain when you didn't meet the expectation. And what if you didn't get paid? If something like that happened, what if they were like, well, I'm not going to pay you? See? So for me, I would rather accept, as I mentioned before, the gift baskets, the gift cards to go explore the city. Trusted house sitters hosts leave you itineraries of things that you can do around the city. They want you to get out and go. They part of the lure to get you to accept their sit is location. A lot of times they're like 10 minutes from this attraction, 15 minutes from that attraction, 5 minute walk to the train or the bus. They expect for you to want to get out and go. And so I guess it also depends on why you're doing the sitting, because if you're doing it to travel and have adventure and to enjoy life and to save money, when you factor in the amenities and being able to live a rich life through travel, which would you rather do? Have a host who is telling you to go out, walk 10 minutes, and the train or the bus is right there, and then go to this place and that place is amazing? Or do you want to be doing all these duties for $50 a day? I choose the first option. Okay, so even though the gift cards that I get aren't $50 a day. Now, some of them are well over. To get taken out to dinner at a restaurant that I might not necessarily go pay for and experience in myself because I just don't even know about it. Or, it might be I've been taken to some very, very expensive restaurants by hosts. To have gift cards left to excursions or places to explore all around the city. I got one time an envelope full of cards, gift cards to go places all around the city. Um, Again, I've gotten like $150, $200 gift cards for groceries. So For me, receiving gifts like that I will never be taxed for because it's not an earning situation, for me, that's more fulfilling and there are no strings attached. I'm not being given those so I can, with the attachment of my performance. I'm just being given those to explore out of kindness, no strings attached. I love that dynamic much, much better. So for me, that is a huge one. Okay, on to number 6. I just kind of covered that. I wrote, I can enjoy the amenities. And no, I was actually meaning that for something different. When I say I can enjoy the amenities, for instance, I am currently on a house sit in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico. I hold temporary residency in Mexico, and I came down on a house sit, a 3 month house. Well, it's an 8 to 9 week house sit. I came down because it's time for me to renew my residency. The temporary residency that I got, I have to renew after 1 year, for another 3 years. Well, I can renew it for up to another 3 years, which that's what I'm going to do. They used to have a different residency for Mexico where you could get the entire 4 years, where you never had to renew it until it was time for you to go from temporary to permanent residency. Some people can still get you that one, but it's phased out. The announcement was made by the government earlier this year that they phased that one out. Some people say you can still do it in special circumstances, and that one was based on whether you've come 2023 or prior and never left Mexico. That's what it's based on. Now, there are loopholes, but again, it doesn't exist anymore. So I won't spend too much time going into it. But I came on a house sit because I wanted to be in Mexico and have time to do my recertification. Also, I'm probably not leaving after this because my house is finally on the market. I'll be releasing videos about that because I wanted to update you guys on it. But so rather, I'm here, and when I say enjoy the amenities at this house sit, and I'm looking out of my window now because I can see it from the window. If I was standing up, there is a pool, a wonderful, wonderful pool that I can go enjoy anytime because I am a guest. I'm not an employee. So if I was here, and you do get overnight stay at a paid house sit, I just don't know how I would feel. And even if I would have the time when we're speaking specifically about the house sit that we just went over. So I don't know how I would feel about being somewhere getting paid to do some services and getting in the pool. I'm sure it would be just fine as long as my duties were completed. But here, I can go anytime. There's no question of, I wonder if her work was done while she got in the pool, before she got in the pool. I can just go get in the pool. The only thing I have to do is maintain my area. Um, and there's a dog here. So make sure the dog is okay. He is just adorable and so cool and low maintenance. So enjoying things like the pool, it's beautiful grounds here, beautiful outdoor area. So getting to enjoy the amenities that come with, some people have hot tubs, some people have tennis courts, whatever there is to enjoy around the grounds. I don't have to prioritize doing a paid task over doing something leisurely. Number 7, I get time off. Again, I have covered this, in the things that I've spoken about prior to now, but it's just so important for me. It's actually a part of the payment for doing a sit is having time that is set just for me after the minimal duties that I finish that I'm required to do. I can, so there's not a day where I would have to be around all day, like in the ad, to make sure the water is filled, all throughout the day and make sure the pets, the animals, farm animals don't get away. And again, I'm not knocking that paid sit. It's just not for me. But the solution, one of the solutions, whether you were on a paid sit like that, or if perhaps you agreed to an unpaid sit that had similar duties, I said in the beginning that will be best for, to me, 3 to 4 people, a family. Perhaps 2 people could pull it off if they were very accustomed to doing that type of work, but make sure you have time or factor in when you're accepting any sit the value of being able to just be to yourself and sit and relax and enjoy your life, and make sure you're not just always inundated with a task that you have to do. And number 7, the final one, is, I mentioned this earlier too, anything that you do extra is a bonus. So if you, one of the compliments that I always get in my posts is that people say, she left my home cleaner than it was when she got there. That is because, a lot of times, it's because my own standard for cleanliness, when I get to a place, I clean so that it can fit my standard. Not saying that, well, I'll leave that alone, but cleaning to fit my standard is often, it often leaves the place, and then I'm going to clean up before I leave, of course. So it often leaves the place, really clean. Or a thing that bothers me is expired goods in the refrigerator. So I have to go into the refrigerator, and because I have to have space for my own food that I'm going to cook for myself. And a lot of people, it's a house sit. A lot of people are just like, welcome to my house. They don't clear you out a shelf. Very seldomly have people cleared, and I've been on more than 20 house sits. Very seldomly have people cleared out a shelf or a space for me specifically in the refrigerator, because most of the time I can't remember one, no, I can remember only one instance where someone did not say, whatever is in the fridge, go for it. In fact, please utilize it, because if you don't use it, it's going to expire while I'm away, and I'll just have to throw it out anyway. So please use whatever you see. Okay, I have to go through and like make room for my stuff because I eat mostly a vegan diet, but I call myself plant-based vegetarian because I'm not fully vegan. So I need a lot of space in the refrigerator. If I see, when I see things that are expired, I ask the host, I ask first. I ask the host if I can throw it away. I send them a message. They always say yes. And then I'll clean, wipe the refrigerator out and such. So there's a bonus. Their refrigerator is going to be cleaned out when they get back. And so these are things that they really praise you for, because that helps them. So that helps them out, and it's very considerate. It's something that makes them feel very welcome when they get back home. So it's going to be a bonus. If they paid you and they said, I don't know, they said keep the refrigerator clean. That would be a very weird request, but it's all I'm coming up with right now. So if that refrigerator was immaculate, they still would be like, oh yeah, well, I paid her to do that. So of course it is. They might praise you for doing a good job, but it's more special if you are not on a paid house sit. So if this house sit paid more than the $50, I don't know what amount. I'm coming up with $150 per day. That could be completely unreasonable. I don't. I wouldn't do it even for that. Even for that amount of money, I can't see myself doing that. So I don't know. But if I had to guess, I would say $150 a day would be reasonable for that amount of work. So you have to consider, like, do you need them? Do you really need the money? Which then is fine. If you really need a fast way to come up with, what was that, $250, by all means go for it. Do whatever you have, not whatever you have to do, but this would be great for someone who just needed to raise some money quickly. But if it's not that, consider what you're giving up especially what's important to you from the list of the 8 things that I just named before you agree to a paid sit. And also, again, remember that it's going to factor into your income and you're going to end up paying taxes. So, was it really worth it if you didn't really need the money? Versus you choosing a trusted house sitter house sit where you don't get money, but you will probably get, let me not say probably, you could get some generous, nice bonus gifts thrown in, and you'll be encouraged to get out and explore and relax and enjoy the house and those things that surround it. I thank you guys so much for listening, and I'm hopeful that these tips have been helpful. And if you are interested in joining Trusted House Sitters, please go to the link because I have an opportunity for you to get 25% off of your 1 year membership when you sign up just by clicking my affiliate link. And then if you go to my website, which is also linked, a lot of times it can be a bit overwhelming when you first join Trusted House Sitters because there are so many different thousands of different houses to choose from. So I have created a video that you can download for free to guide you along on how to use their search engine in the best way to filter down the results that really matter to you and get notifications when some sits that fit the criteria that you're looking for come available. Thank you so much for watching. And I am going live again tomorrow. So I will see you then. Bye bye.